YouTube, it is Gino Bonino, and I want to say thanks for checking out my video. Please do subscribe. Hit the bell. I'm going to try to be more consistent with my videos, so there will be more content coming out. So again, I appreciate everybody, all the comments. Don't get a ton of them, but the people that do comment, I try to answer them all and try to offer a little insight into what I was doing, what I was thinking when I made the video. Usually there's a reason behind it. I try not too much to repeat what other people do, but sometimes with comic books, unfortunately, you end up doing that. However, this is one subject I found real interesting, and I don't know if anybody has addressed it yet. Maybe they have. If so, please let me know. I want to talk a little bit about Venom. Although I'm a little bit late, how this whole thing started is I was watching an interview that Todd McFarlane had done not too long ago. It was actually since the movie was released, and he was, I believe, doing some Venom promotion, and I think what he's doing now is trying to get some financing for his movie, so he's making the rounds and comic book rounds and stuff like that. To make a long story short, they were asking him how he felt they represented his character in the last movie. And to paraphrase, what he said is he thought they did a great job. He was actually very diplomatic. As you know, sometimes he can speak his mind. He's not super diplomatic, but he said he really liked it. He said he enjoyed the fact that they made him as big as they did. That was kind of one of the gripes he had about the first movie version back in Spider-Man 2, I believe, that he was not a big hulking character. In fact, he said when he had thought of Venom, one thing he said is that he wanted him to be, in essence, the Hulk in a black costume. So he wanted him to be that big and that muscular and all that kind of stuff. So, excuse me. So, then they asked him what the changes they would make in another one. And he said he would make his teeth more animalistic. And I think what he was going for is more uneven and kind of, teeth all over the place. If you think about an animal, they'll have, a sharp tooth and a flat tooth and then things like that. It's not usually all sharp or all flat. And I found that rather strange because from what I remember in sticking out in issue 300, when Venom was first brought to page, was the fact that he didn't look like he does now. So I was wondering what happened, how that whole thing took place, and I actually did some research and found out exactly what happened to the best of my knowledge. So I would show you in issue 300, but unfortunately mine is slabbed, and it's hard to I don't feel like cracking it just to demonstrate this. So what I did is I went on the internet and I found some images from issue 300. This is the one that kind of stands out, and if you look, his teeth are flat. They're like human teeth. In essence, what Venom was here was the Spider-Man black suit with a bigger person in it, Eddie Brock, to be specific. And I even found some other issues, and you can see what he was going for. I mean, this is kind of Todd McFarlane's drawing style, artistic style. He often does a lot of teeth and the big evil grin and things like that. But even if you notice, the eyes are similar to Spider-Man's eyes on his suit. This one gets a little bit closer to it if you look. But again, the main thing that stands out is, to me, if I would have to describe it, I would say those are, in essence, human teeth. And if you think of Venom, what do you think of? First thing you think of is his teeth and tongue. So I started doing a little bit of research to find out how he turned into what he was to what he is now. And it's not unusual. I mean, if you think about the Hulk was originally gray, then he turned green, and then gray and red and all that. But so it's not unusual, and I'm certainly not faulting anybody, but I just wanted to kind of see the history of it. So this is the first issue where you can see that McFarlane drew Venom, where he's getting a little bit kind of an idea of what he was going for. If you look, he's got now the teeth go from basically flat to more pointy. And again, I think this is what he meant by animalistic teeth. There's some pointy and it looks like there's some flat. This is 316, a pretty popular and famous issue. Then you dig a little more, and this is after McFarlane has left the book, and it's in other people's hands. If I remember right, this I think is Ed Bagley. And there's, I don't know if he did this cover image, but this is the first image you can see where he kind of would have what I would say the representation of today's teeth, which is kind of pointy and jaggedy all over the place. No human teeth to be seen here. Everything is pointy, almost like sharks' teeth, I guess you could explain it. But then, as the story goes, Eric Larson, who penciled this cover, and this is the first time, and I'll get into this, but anyway, Eric Larson, who penciled this, didn't much care for Venom. He didn't much care for the character. So I don't know if it was kind of as a joke, or if he did it as kind of I'm not really super happy about drawing this. So what he did here is he made him look as snarly as he possibly could. And this is the first time you'll see the tongue and the kind of the slimy stuff coming out of his out of Venom's mouth. So this, to me, would seem this is a very important issue. This is the first modern incarnation of what you would think of as today's Venom, with the snarly teeth and the big teeth, the big nasty tongue with the saliva, and here they make it green, but in the movie it's clear and whatnot. So that's that. So again, little piece of trivia. If you want, I would consider 347 as to being a pretty key issue, mainly for the reason that this is the first drawing that you'll see that's the modern incarnation of Venom. You won't see him anywhere else. This is the first. Now, if I'm wrong, and I know there'll be people digging and finding, I could be wrong, but I did a little bit of research myself, and I did read a story, and basically what they said is that Eric Larson did not much care for the characters, so this is what he did. And also, if you look at the eyes are significantly different too. They're all jaggedy, and they don't follow kind of an even contour. They're all jaggedy and whatnot. And I guess the way you could explain this is it was the symbiote taking more control over the host. So when it first started, you could say that it was more, Eddie Brock and less the symbiote, whereas you get into this version, it's just the opposite of that. So you start getting more of the look of what he would be on his home planet and stuff like that. So, thought that was interesting. I hope you do too. Next thing I want to do is do my third box finally came from CGC, and I wanted to open it. So let's get rid of this stuff. And hang on a sec. And, early, probably Copper Age books. I know what it is. It's Spider-Man. But anyway, let's get to it. By the way, if you don't have, you should always get a scalpel. And I'll tell you why. For opening up, if you do much ordering on eBay or have people ship you books, often they will do a good job of packing them. And a lot of times what they'll do is tape a couple pieces of cardboard together, 2 or 3, and they'll put tape to hold the book in tight. If you get a scissors or a knife or whatever, it's sometimes hard to make a real precise cut. If you get a scalpel, you can get these on eBay for just a couple bucks. And again, they start out really sharp. They dull quite easily, but it's good for making real precise cuts on tape and things like that, so you don't damage the book inside. That's one of my big fears, is if I get a book and somebody doesn't leave a whole lot of room between the book and the pieces of cardboard they put on, and you start digging in there, you can cut into your book and bag and stuff. That's not good. So, all right, first thing we have is the obligatory 900 pieces of bubble wrap, but I would much prefer they do that than not. The tier that this is, let's see, the value tier. So again, this is the one I had, this is the last one. And I didn't expect super high grade. I knew these were pretty much mid-grade books, similar to the last batch, but nonetheless, I wanted to get them graded. The first thing we have is Spider-Man 100. And this is where, if I remember right, the first time, this is obviously anniversary issue. Let me get the glare off that. Sorry about that. 6.5, expected that. generally speaking, a nice looking book, but again, it had some issues in regards to there's a little chip off it, things like that. So I'm happy with the grade. Sort of expected that. This was pressed and cleaned and whatnot, so it's not going to get a lot of improvement. And the other one is the important one, which got a little bit higher grade. 7.0 Spider-Man 101. First Morbius, the living vampire. And once again, I knew it had some issues. It has a corner here, which is a definite not fixable defect. Looks like it was kind of a crushed corner. Sadly, I did straighten it out, but I wouldn't, obviously it breaks colors, and that's going to ding it. And there's a couple little pretty serious spine ticks that break color. There's probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spine ticks. There's some colored loss right there. And always the back cover looks a little bit better than the front, but it's simply because the back cover doesn't get as jacked around as much as the front cover. So that's it. Those are my 2 books that came back from value. Pretty much expected what I got. Didn't think I was going to get much better than a VF or a low VF, and that's what I got. So wanted to have this slabbed just because I know when the movie starts hitting right now, it's not really getting discussed that much. This one should blow up pretty good. Hopefully they'll do a good job on Morbius. I think it just started production. And that's it. So once again, guys, Gino Bonino, I am out. Thanks for watching. Be safe over Super Bowl weekend. Don't overdo it. And again, don't want to get sick. And hate to say it, but being from Los Angeles once in my life, I have to be rooting for the Rams. So we'll see what happens. Thanks once again. Gino Bonino, I am out, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.